What if the car sitting in your driveway right now was secretly smarter than you ever imagined, and you have been driving it at only half its potential this entire time? Most electric vehicle owners spend thousands of dollars on their cars, plug them in every night, and never once realize that beneath the surface there is an entire hidden layer of settings, algorithms, and engineering decisions that could completely transform their driving experience. We are talking about features that affect battery longevity, acceleration curves, regenerative braking behavior, thermal management, and even the way the car communicates with charging stations, all quietly buried inside menus that most people never open. Electric vehicles are not just cars with batteries instead of engines. They are rolling computers, and like any computer, knowing where to look makes all the difference between average performance and something extraordinary. The engineers who built these vehicles spent years programming behaviors and options that were never properly marketed, never highlighted in commercials, and never explained in the quick start guide you probably glanced at once and tossed in your glove box. This video is going to pull back that curtain completely, and I promise you, what we are about to reveal will change the way you think about every electric vehicle on the road today. If you find this kind of deep dive fascinating, do yourself a favor and subscribe right now. Smash that like button, and drop a comment below telling me what EV you drive or which feature surprised you most, because this community of curious minds is what keeps this channel going. Now buckle up, because we are just getting started, and the first secret we are about to uncover is one that could literally add years to your battery life. Let us start with the one setting that EV engineers quietly consider the single most impactful factor in long-term battery health, and almost nobody outside of the engineering community talks about it openly. Every lithium-ion battery pack in a modern electric vehicle has what is called a state of charge window, which is essentially the range between how low and how high you allow the battery to sit on a regular basis. Most manufacturers recommend keeping your battery between 20% and 80% for daily driving, but here is the part that gets genuinely interesting. Many EVs allow you to set a custom charge limit directly from the infotainment system or a connected app, and studies from battery research institutions have shown that keeping a lithium-ion cell consistently near 100% accelerates a chemical process called lithium plating, which permanently reduces the number of electrons each cell can hold. Tesla, for example, has had this charge limit feature available since the Model S launched in 2012, but the majority of owners still charge to 100% every single night out of habit. Rivian takes this even further by offering what they call a conservation mode that actively adjusts not just the charge ceiling but also the discharge floor, creating a protected buffer zone the driver never even touches. What makes this even crazier is that most automakers have actually been quietly expanding these options with over-the-air software updates, meaning your car today may have capabilities it did not have when you first drove it off the lot. Volkswagen rolled out hidden charge scheduling features to existing ID.4 owners months after launch, and many of those owners had no idea the update had even arrived. Now here is where things get genuinely fascinating, because we move into a feature that most drivers assume is fixed, permanent, and unchangeable, and it is absolutely not. Regenerative braking, the system that converts your car's kinetic energy back into electricity every time you lift your foot off the accelerator, is almost universally adjustable in modern EVs, yet survey data from EV owner communities consistently shows that over 60% of drivers have never touched this setting once since buying their vehicle. In a Hyundai Ioniq 5, there are 4 levels of regenerative braking plus a completely freewheel mode that feels almost identical to a traditional combustion car coasting in neutral, and you can cycle through them using paddle shifters behind the steering wheel in real time while driving. The Kia EV6 takes this concept even further with what Kia calls smart regenerative braking, which uses the front camera and radar data to automatically adjust how aggressively the car recaptures energy based on how far away the vehicle in front of you is, essentially letting the car decide the optimal recovery rate for the current traffic situation. But what almost nobody realizes is that the correct regenerative setting is not just about comfort or personal preference. It actually has a measurable impact on range, sometimes as significant as 5 to 10% on a single charge depending on the driving environment. If you are learning something new right now and you know someone who just bought an EV or is thinking about making the switch, this is the video to share with them. Hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. Drop a comment below with the most surprising thing you have heard so far. And share this with the car lover in your life because the next secret coming up is one that even longtime EV enthusiasts rarely discuss. Most drivers never realize that the temperature of their battery pack is being actively managed by a system more sophisticated than the climate control in most luxury hotels. And buried inside that thermal management system are settings that can unlock dramatically better performance in extreme weather. Every serious EV uses a liquid-cooled battery thermal management system, and the better ones allow drivers to precondition the battery before driving, a process where the car heats or cools the cells to an optimal operating temperature before you even sit down inside it. Tesla refers to this as preconditioning, and when you navigate to a supercharger destination in the Tesla navigation system, the car automatically begins warming the battery pack to precisely the right temperature so it arrives at the charger ready to accept the maximum possible charge rate. What most people do not know is that this preconditioning can be triggered manually, and in cold climates it can mean the difference between arriving at a fast charger and receiving a charge rate of 250 kilowatts versus arriving with a cold pack and receiving only 70 or 80 kilowatts, which translates directly into significantly longer stops. The Porsche Taycan has an especially sophisticated version of this system with a heat pump that recycles waste thermal energy from the drive unit and power electronics to warm the cabin and the battery simultaneously, achieving efficiency levels that the engineers initially projected as theoretical targets rather than real-world results. General Motors developed their Ultium battery platform with individual module temperature monitoring at a granularity that previous generations of battery architecture simply could not achieve, allowing each section of the pack to be managed independently rather than treating the entire battery as a single thermal mass. There is one detail almost nobody talks about when it comes to electric vehicles, and it lives at the intersection of software, artificial intelligence, and the daily rhythm of your personal life. Several modern EVs now include what are called learning algorithms that observe your driving patterns over time and actively adapt the vehicle's behavior to match your specific habits, and the implications of this technology go far deeper than most owners ever explore. The Mercedes EQS, for instance, uses machine learning to study which routes you drive most frequently and adjusts its energy management strategy accordingly, preloading navigation data and optimizing motor output profiles for roads it knows you drive regularly. BMW's iDrive system in their electric models tracks your typical departure times and automatically begins preconditioning the cabin and battery to reach your preferred temperature exactly when you usually leave, without you ever setting a recurring schedule. But here is what makes this truly remarkable from an engineering standpoint. These systems are also communicating silently with electricity grid data in certain regions, and they can schedule charging sessions to begin automatically during off-peak hours when electricity rates are lowest, saving drivers significant money on their annual energy bills without them ever manually setting a timer. Nissan introduced a version of this grid-aware charging system in the Leaf back in the early days of mainstream EV adoption, and it laid the groundwork for the far more capable vehicle-to-grid systems we are beginning to see in the latest generation of electric vehicles, where the car itself can actually feed stored energy back into your home during a power outage or high-demand period, essentially functioning as a mobile energy storage unit that happens to also transport you across town. We have covered battery management, regenerative braking calibration, thermal optimization, and artificial intelligence learning systems, but there is one final category of hidden EV secrets that might be the most practically powerful of everything we have discussed today. Every major electric vehicle platform has what engineers internally call a service mode or engineering menu, accessible through specific sequences of inputs that are rarely if ever published in consumer-facing documentation. While we are not suggesting owners go digging through diagnostic menus unsupervised, understanding that these layers exist reveals something profound about the engineering philosophy behind modern EVs. These vehicles are designed to be updated, reconfigured, and improved throughout their entire lifespan in ways that combustion vehicles simply cannot be, and that fundamentally changes the relationship between the owner and the machine. Lucid Motors has already demonstrated this by pushing an over-the-air update that improved the Air's highway range by adding a new efficiency mode that adjusted motor torque mapping and thermal thresholds simultaneously. A meaningful real-world improvement delivered as invisibly as a phone software update arriving at 2 in the morning. Ford has done the same with the Mustang Mach-E, adding new one-pedal driving calibrations and updating the charging curve profile based on aggregated fleet data collected from thousands of vehicles, making every subsequent owner benefit from the collective experience of the entire Mach-E community. The electric vehicle you drive today is genuinely a different machine than the one that left the factory, and the one you drive 5 years from now will be different again, smarter, more efficient, and more personalized with every passing year. If this deep dive into the hidden world of electric vehicles opened your eyes to just how much is happening beneath the surface of these extraordinary machines, please subscribe to this channel right now, hit that like button, share this video with someone you know who owns or is considering an EV, and leave a comment telling us which secret from today's video surprised you the most, because there is so much more to explore, and every comment you leave helps us know exactly what to uncover next.